Hi, everyone. Welcome to ConvHERsations with Kristie. I'm Kristie Clayton. I am the founder of Herverse. HER is an acronym that stands for Helping Executives Rise. And we do that in three ways. We have a community of a peer community for second in command leaders and a peer community for department leaders that are really focused on women who are in those particular roles. It's an exciting community that we are part of. And then we also have executive coaching that is available for both men and women to include visionaries, business owners, second in command leaders, and department leaders. We also have a huge announcement that we are starting to do some really amazing and fun team health and benefits for that. So if there's anything you're looking for there, definitely hit us up. We would love to be able to talk with you. But enough about me. I want to focus on our guest today. Our guest today is Jill Simonds with Savvy Strategic Partners. And Jill, I would love for you to be able to introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you, Kristie. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Yes, my name is Jill. As mentioned, I founded Savvy Strategic Partners. We are a dedicated C-suite, so executing vision across the core functions of the business. So with our collective suite of executive leaders, we cover finance, revenue, and operations, and increasing business value and helping founder owners in those organizations realize freedom and elevating to their role as visionary and forward movement entrepreneurs. I am also a Colorado native and live in Colorado with my amazing family, my husband and our 3 daughters, and just love the fullness of this life that we've designed and built with them. We love traveling, outdoors, sports, athletics. Most of my free time is spent kind of cheerleading our daughters' extracurriculars and athletics. So
I love that. How old are they?
What about me? Yeah, they are 14, 12, and turning 8 on Saturday.
Oh my goodness, how exciting. So those are great ages too. Those are fun ages where they're really like finding themselves. I love that.
Yeah, fun and very wild. It's an adventure with 3 daughters. Yeah, it's good.
I agree. Well,
Yeah.
in preparation for our conversation, we were talking a little bit about how 2025, there's like a shift in the atmosphere. And, a lot of it is based around like positive feminine energy and different things. And you are definitely more well-versed in this than I am. So I'd love to like kick off this conversation by talking about that. Like, look like, what has your research shown and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. Yeah, it's a topic I love and somewhat new. I wouldn't say I'm any sort of professionally versed astrologer or astronomer by any means. A lot of it, yes, scientific, but the more I've tapped into and harnessing the untethered soul and conscious work and conscious leadership work, the more aware and open I am to just shifts in the energy and understanding and having an open heart and open mind and abundance. And so through that journey, I learned, 2025 and toward the end of last year, we're moving into a movement of feminine where we've been in a very masculine energy for, I think it's over a decade or something to that effect. So it's just top of mind and something to notice in our economy, in our market, in our teams, and how we show up inclusive, I think, and open to what might be a shift in how we work, how we approach decisions, how we lead, how we show up. So that's, I wouldn't call it research. I'm probably not a very research heavy person, as much as just being intentional, right? Intentionally sitting in and being aware of surroundings and being with our whole selves and the world around us without having to shape it and fix it and, all of those kind of constructs of consciousness. So it's a big year. And so everything pink and feminine, and why I was excited for the timing just to show up today and kind of see where the conversation went. Because I think it is a very powerful feminine energy.
Yeah. So share a little bit about what that means though, Jill. Like what is masculine energy versus feminine energy? And what are some of
Mm.
the like shifts that we could potentially see?
Yeah. So I think really it's about the intertwining of those two energies. Feminine embodies a lot more intuition. It's nurturing. It's empathetic. It's collaborative. Feminine energy is a lot more go with the flow. And then the opposing force of that and masculine energy is assertiveness, it's structure, it's very focused, and a very prominent and positive element in leadership and entrepreneurialism, right? So those are kind of the two at odds or in balance with each other.
Yeah.
So when we bring that both of them together in co-creation and kind of view them as a way of in collaboration and in tandem, we can create something greater. And so I'm hoping from this that it's not this huge swing or shift. It's not a replacement of one or the other, of like really strong masculine energy and really focused and structured and assertive kind of environment and energy, to have a balance between the two. So I think for me, and reflecting on that personally, what it means for me as a woman, I think a lot of women I've talked to and a lot of women I work with and mentors of mine all have the similarity in how we've kind of perceived where we fit in a professional sense at the table. For me, it's felt a lot of my early career being a driver, being a driven, just by nature, being very structured, a very systems thinker. I harnessed and felt like I had to harness a lot of my masculine energy to have a place, to be seen in corporate setting, of course. So kind of started in that environment and got a taste firsthand of truly like how rooted that kind of environment is in this masculine energy. And in order to kind of show up and to be a part of it, we have to wear more of that. And so in hindsight, there's this awareness now of what it means for our feminine energy to show up and for us to bring that in a way to be powerful and balanced. So I think a lot of women can relate to what it's meant for them to be in professions and in leadership in very male dominated, whether it's industries or just a dominant kind of male energy in general.
Yeah. Well, and I love what you said about it needs to be a balance, right? Because a lot of women, and Herverse is primarily focused on women's development. I hear a lot of feedback sometimes. Well, what about men, right? And so for me, like, I have a passion for developing women leaders, but for me, I really think the best teams and the best environments is when there is a balance of both men and women, right? Because we do
absolutely.
Both genders bring beautiful things to the table, and it's when we can really have a blend that it can be incredibly powerful.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to think about that. And the other thing too is sometimes, and I don't know about you and your experience, but I know sometimes for me there seems to be like a negative about masculine energy or feminine energy, and I really I want people to know, like, you showing up as your best self, being self-aware and arriving to like fully show up is beautiful, right?
Yes.
And we all have that respect. The conversation is more powerful. We're more productive. We can do a lot. So it takes both masculine and feminine energy, not one or the other.
Exactly. Yeah, when they're allowed to coexist and within ourselves as well. Right? It starts with ourselves and that coexistence of just in who we are may lean toward one or the other, depending in certain situations and how we approach certain situations, or, what state we're in, those sorts of things, but being cognizant and aware of when we're off balance and one is a lot more dominant than the other, can set us off kilter. So when they can exist harmoniously, there is a dynamic there, and a dynamic when those energies are in a room, especially in teams, in a team dynamic and environment of leadership, that is a thriving environment. And that growth and mutual respect and trust really starts to form when they can coexist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coexisting with others, but our own personal feminine and masculine energy inside of ourselves coexisting. When
Right.
you said, there are times when my feminine comes out, and I definitely, you get to see it a lot in me because I do love the pinks and the purples and, and some of that like stereotypical like femininity. But then also there's masculine energy that I have too. It is, really, driven towards, assertiveness and goal oriented and all of that too. So there's a balance within us.
Exactly. I think it's all very, it's important, the understanding of it, the importance when it comes to an inclusive, healthy team environment. And I love what you're doing in the coaching aspect and the development aspect of women leaders, especially the younger generation and upbringing, that I think that's something we'll touch on a little bit later too, with, us raising 3 daughters and what that means for the world they're kind of stepping into. And a lot of the truths that exist out there that generation is really shaping. It is really kind of the starting point for this shift to create a movement and create that holistic kind of balance of male, female, masculine, feminine energy.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I say it all the time, and we'll talk a little bit about, honor, empower, inspire, towards the end of our conversation. But it is something that's really important to me to always remember is there is an entire generation of women that came before us, right? What they experienced and the foundation that they have created for us is absolutely incredible.
Right.
So grateful for them. And the strength and courage they had to be able to really like open doors and start to explore things that were not available to women, right? Like, it's so like mind-blowing to me to think that just less than 100 years ago, women got the right to vote, right? We couldn't own land. We couldn't even have our own bank accounts or credit cards until the 80s. That seems so wildly crazy to me today.
I know.
And did that for us, right?
Right.
For us today to be able to take what they did and build on it. But my goal is, listen, I want my nieces to be able to like walk through door frames because there's not even a door on the stinking frame. They're just walking through, right?
Yes. It's the dream. Yeah. And it's up to us to build that foundation and to pave that path to help them develop to see it, because I think often it wasn't something really predominantly talked about from my parents, grandparents, right? Working class women in my family, graduates of college and things like that. But it was still very much wildly accepted. The red tape and the ceilings and the dynamic that was kind of just accepted as how it is. And so it wasn't really taught to me. It wasn't something that I just had to learn it firsthand and think this is just how it is. So that concept of telling our daughters, hey, that's not fair, or this, we have competitive athlete daughters, and the whole movement in women's soccer as of the last few years of equal rights and equal pay, that is an opportunity to stop and
Yes.
and have the conversations and have the healthy conversations, because I think so much of the world can just put on this blind, this kind of shield and pretend it's not there and pretend it's not really a problem. And yes, we can choose to overcome those hurdles, and yes, we can plow through anyway. I'm not saying like, oh, we kind of have to follow what's been built. We need to shatter that. But the more we can talk about it and recognize where it's happening, stereotypically, sociologically, the more powerful we can become. So it's something that I think in our generation, we had to learn firsthand by experiencing a lot of the oppression, a lot of the stark differences in treatment of women or men in the workforce. And it's something now that it needs to be front and center, taught to our daughters, taught to our next generation, taught to our nieces, to see it, to be able to know how to approach it.
Yes.
So
I love that. And listen, this is Women's History Month, right? And there's just incredible women that have come before us. I think about, the Eleanor Roosevelts and the RBGs and the, Amelia Earhart's. The way that I think about it is this, right? Is that those women had the courage to place their hand on a doorknob and begin to open it, right? And they achieved amazing and beautiful things. And listen, my great-grandmother and my grandmother are a huge part of that. I saw that they did that. In today's world, we would be like, of course they did that. In that day and age, no way in the world were they supposed to be doing that, right? But then our generation, Jill, to me, we're the ones that are busting the door open, right? We're like, nope, here we are, and we are going to be here to do things. And there's a number of women that I still see today that are doing things for the very first time.
Exactly. And all that is the men, right? Celebrating the men and that the powerful connection and balance between in harmony together of men amplifying. I mean, my husband's one of them, right? He's dealing with 4 women in the house. And I think by just, by sheer purpose and intent was that he was to be a father of daughters. And so where are those men, that and amplifying that with women's history and women's recognition of women is they have an equal part. They have a powerful part in this as well, and an opportunity to see how the balance of these forces can be together in such an amazing way to shape our future. It's a huge opportunity. So I want to recognize and call out the men in my life that, especially more so probably, my husband being kind of the golden example. So recognizing them, uplifting, and using that as a platform and voice too.
I could not agree more, right? Because it takes both parties, and whether we're talking about gender or, race or anything else, when everyone comes together is when beautiful things do happen. And just because women are, there are more executive women in the world today than there ever have been before.
Right.
And because that's happening doesn't mean that we're trying to overpower men or that they're not as equal. We just want to see that.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Beautiful.
Yes.
The men you're talking about is they recognize that we're not in competition, my friend. We have a place too, and we want a seat.
Yes. It's all in like cyclical power together of like that feminine force and what it can mean for that masculine energy to shine in such a powerful way, and vice versa. We're short-handing ourselves if we're at odds. Really, I could say that about so many things in the world right now. So I'm excited. I'm excited for March. I'm excited for this shift, what it means internally for our teams, the businesses that we lead, and the opportunity and platform that we have as founders to be a part of that, to take part of really bringing that into our world.
Agree. Agree.
Yeah, love it. All fired up.
I know. I was going to say, you got me. I've got goosebumps, and one of the things that I'm thinking about, Jill, is, as we do move into this, if there is a leader on the other side of this screen that's sitting and listening, going, we're shifting into more of a feminine energy, and I want to tap in and know and understand what that means, whether that's male or female, that you want to tap into your own feminine energy. What are things that you think a leader could really like hone in and kind of that part of themselves?
Oh, definitely. That's a great question, because I think until I discovered kind of the resources in front of me to learn that and understand everything, I didn't know. I wasn't looking for it. Yeah. So I was looking for it. I think the first thing that comes to mind is a coach. So a coach with the expertise, especially in just understanding ourselves. So more on a personal level, personal development coaching. Sometimes that's therapy too. So kind of in a combination of those that's where the journey started for me, is through regular therapy with a therapist, uncovering past wounds, who I am, right? All of it is so interwoven and ingrained in the constructs that we build within ourselves of what's happened to us. And so therapy was a natural starting point for me to start to break down those walls, to understand, where is this coming from? Why do I do this? Why do I think this way? And shifting that. So therapy, coaching, huge investments that pay off in the long run of having a healthy love for myself, understanding of myself, and tapping into that. That's a very personal journey for each person. A coach and a therapist is 100% all to understand like what's going to be a good fit for you. And so there's no shortage of resources out there in terms of ongoing therapy, mental health support, things of that nature, and just self-learning and self-discovery. There's a lot of books. I mentioned The Untethered Soul as one. It's not so much the dynamic and forces at play between masculine and feminine, so much as the understanding of consciousness and kind of the 2 to 3 selves within us, of like what's like my unconscious, non-conscious, and true conscious. That's an amazing book. I could definitely kind of drum up some resources of places to go, but that journey definitely starts with therapy, understanding, loving yourself, and then coaching. There's several coaches out there too that do a lot of that intuitive healing. And that's kind of where part of that coaching came in for me, and understanding the divine feminine and masculine.
Yeah. And I'll just throw another thing out there too, is it really may start for you with just understanding feminine and masculine energy, maybe some Google searches and some videos to just help you. Right. So
totally.
There's lots of great resources that are out there, but really understanding that feminine energy it's a lot about traits like, compassion and empathy. And I think for me personally that I really recognize is starting to happen a lot for me is having those gut feelings, right? That discernment that can really happen within us.
Intuition. Yes. The feminine energy is a lot of intuitive energy. Yes. A lot of intuition. Definitely. Yeah. And there's every single individual, we're human, has the interweaving of both of those. So there's no shortage of information. We have information at our fingertips. So for me, it was, through a journey, a self-discovery journey, and knowing and just learning more, opening my mind to understanding that dynamic at play and just within ourselves and in the universe. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I see it. I see where I align. I see these habits, behaviors, traits that I carry. And just learning as you go.
Yeah. And just leaning into those things can be really powerful for us too, right? Because I think for a while we were kind of taught not to lean into intuition. Like that's, be careful with that, right? Because it's not scientifically based, or intuition is something that when we tap into that and really like lean into our intuition, we can really like understand a lot more things that are going on. And there's been studies recently that gut feeling is actually a second brain, right? It's really truly something you should be
It
listening.
is. Yep. It starts with just that awareness. I think so much of what we do, whether it's thoughts, feelings, behaviors, we don't really process in real time or even reflect what we're actually doing, what part of us we're using in that, or, oh, that was an intuitive decision. I went with something that like propelled me in a way. So until we tap into and are aware, I think a lot of people will be like, oh, this is so woo-woo. It's like, no, it's just really how we're wired, right? It's not this like mystical thing. Like we are energy. We exist as energy, and the world around us is vibration of energy. And so when you pick up on feelings or you just have a hunch, there's something there, right? So how to use it wisely, how it's maybe got where it can be a risk, where it can be a huge benefit, right? It's just knowing ourselves is hugely powerful. So I'd start there. Start with understanding yourself better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could not agree with you more. Like it is, there, even for me personally, there are aspects of it that I'm like, ooh, this may be getting a little woo-woo, but not really, not when it comes to certain things, right? So it took a little while to really like lean into it, but
yeah,
you're right. Energy is all around us, and it's really truly how we manage energy. And that starts with knowing and understanding it and how it's impacting us, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, very cool.
Girl, I knew this was going to be a fun conversation. I had no idea where we were going to go having.
Me neither.
But
we're harnessing the feminine. We're showing up. Let's just see what happens. Let's see what we want to talk about. All right.
I know.
So go with the flow.
Well, thank you so much for this. This was fun. And what I want to talk about next is really, truly the honor, empower, and inspire. So if you know me, you know that honor really means a lot to me. It is thinking of the women of past generations that did lay the foundation, that put that hand on the door and started to turn it and open it for us. So, Jill, who is a woman of a past generation that you would like to recognize and honor?
Yeah, this is hard to choose. This is so hard to choose. I'm going to say Oprah Winfrey because, I mean, she's deserving for so many reasons. Everyone knows her by her first name, right? The impact that she's had in our society, on media, culture, us as a society. She's broken barriers as a Black woman in television. And just used her platform. I think I recognize and honor women who truly use their reputation and their platform to raise important issues, to bring awareness, to promote healing, and just to inspire people. So I think through all of her work, she's created such an impact for individuals to pursue their potential, to know their potential, to not be held back, to fail forward and embrace growth. So just her resiliency and who she is, she's a trailblazer that I would definitely love to honor.
I appreciate that. And next, power, right? Thinking of a woman of today's generation who's that hand that's on the doorknob and starting to open it now, flinging it wide open. Who is a woman of today's generation that either empowers you to be your absolute best self, or that you hope to empower to be her best?
So this one I kind of grouped together with some of the women that are on our team, fractional CMOs, CFOs, and COOs that I get to work with. And so I can't choose just one of them, because I feel like there's just the relationships and bonds we've been able to forge working together, showing up for businesses that we serve, and serving entrepreneurs that we get to serve together, and doing hard work and sitting at the table. It's Lexi, it's Mindy, it's Megan, Erin, all of you I love and have been inspired by, and empowered to keep going when I fall down. And because we will keep falling down, or that I know that I'm empowering in a way for us to come together stronger together because we are together. So it's I want to say a lot from my team.
I love that.
And the women, honestly, clients as well. There's so many trailblazing visionary women that I've been fortunate to work with and help and sit in the messy of their business that I hope I'm empowering them. They empower me. I learn so much. I grow so much. So it's just getting to do what we do every day. I'd have to say all of them that I get to work with, women owners, business owners, and entrepreneurs.
I love that answer. I love that answer. And if you don't mind, my coach's hat on for just 1 second and say, friend, you never fall down, you fall up.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yes. You always fall up.
I'm thinking of, I'm falling up the hill.
Yes.
Thanks for that reminder. Yes. It doesn't feel like that sometimes. So that's a great visual, falling up.
Yeah, falling up. And then inspire, which to me really means, that the current generation has flung those doors open. And like I said earlier, there's just no longer a door on the door. Like women are just running through that door that is now available to them. So who do you hope to inspire that's of a future generation? I think I know the answer.
Yeah, you know the answer. I'm going to try not to cry live in front of millions of viewers. My daughters, of course. So we have 3 incredible, smart, talented, intelligent daughters that I would do anything for. I do what I do, and I show up to show them, to inspire them, to teach them a lot of the things that I've had to learn later in life about loving myself, knowing myself, talking better to myself, that we as a husband and wife are doing together with them, and giving them the tools, giving them those resources, and giving them the awareness to recognize the world around them and the world within them, the power within themselves. It is my sole mission in this life is to see them beyond, their own wildest dreams and my own wildest dreams for them. And I will stop at nothing to help them know that they are loved, that they are incredible, just as they are, no matter what they do in their life, no matter, what ambitions they have or how they succeed or not. That is my number one mission and why I do what I do.
I love that. And I'm so proud of you for taking those steps and being that source, being that role model for them, right? Because you're right. Our generation, our mothers and grandmothers did not talk that way, and so learning something new and sharing something new. So I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for letting me share.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad you were here. Listen, if you want to connect with Jill, she's an incredible resource. Her information is right here available for you. Yeah, again, I knew this was going to be an amazing conversation, and it absolutely lived
so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again, Jill.
Yes, thank you.
Again next week. If you need anything from us, definitely let us know how we can be here and support you. You'll have a badass weekend.
Thank you.